Oh my goodness, folks. I have some absolutely explosive information about Meghan Markle's latest Netflix catastrophe that has Hollywood insiders snickering behind closed doors. Season 2 of With Love Meghan has officially become one of the biggest streaming disasters of the year, and the fallout is absolutely devastating for the Duchess of Desperation. Now, I know you guys are excited for more. But before we delve into further discussion, if you haven't subscribed, come on guys, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell ASAP. So now, The Hollywood Reporter, not some tabloid, but a respected entertainment industry publication, just delivered the kind of brutal assessment that would make even the most thick-skinned celebrity cringe. They've essentially declared Meghan's show Doe A, calling season 2 reheated leftovers that nobody likes, and comparing it to day-old tuna salad. Can you imagine a more humiliating review from the industry Bible? This isn't just another mediocre streaming release, folks. This is a catastrophic failure that has crashed and burned with critics and viewers alike, earning embarrassing one-star ratings across the board. The backlash has been so overwhelming that industry insiders are already declaring it one of the biggest streaming failures of 2025. What makes this situation particularly devastating for Meghan is that she reportedly boasted behind the scenes that season 2 would break Netflix streaming records. Well, she was right, but for all the wrong reasons. Instead of soaring viewership, With Love Meghan is making history as possibly the poorest reviewed project of its kind, a humiliating symbol of how far the Sussex brand has fallen. The critics have been absolutely merciless in their assessment. One described the show as tone-deaf fluff masquerading as authenticity, while another blasted Meghan for delivering artificiality wrapped in self-promotion. Perhaps the most cutting review compared watching the show to someone's Instagram stories stretched into 45 minutes, a biting critique that perfectly encapsulates why audiences are rejecting it en masse. The fundamental problem with Love Meghan is painfully obvious. Nobody asked for it. Meghan pitched this as a warm, relatable lifestyle project, but the execution was anything but authentic. Instead of genuine connections, viewers got staged kitchens with rehearsed conversations and Meghan at the center of every single frame. What's particularly damning about this failure is that Meghan learned absolutely nothing from season 1's poor reception. Instead of adjusting course after the first season bombed, she doubled down on the exact same failed formula. No pivots, no adjustments, nothing. As any business person knows, when customers tell you your product isn't good, you don't rush out to make more of the same. But that's exactly what Meghan did. The most devastating critique focuses on Meghan's bizarre attempt to present herself as a relatable girl next door while filming in her multi-million-dollar Montecito estate with produce from her private garden and dishes prepared by Michelin-starred chefs. Critics have labeled this failed middle-class cosplay, neither aspirational like Martha Stewart nor relatable like everyday cooking shows, just bland and disconnected from reality. Even more telling is Prince Harry's conspicuous absence from the launch events. Insiders whisper that Harry had grown increasingly skeptical of the project long before its release, seeing it as yet another vanity vehicle for Meghan. After the one-star reviews started pouring in, his silence became absolutely deafening. For a man already criticized for abandoning the monarchy, being associated with his wife's disastrous TV projects adds another layer of humiliation. In Los Angeles, the reaction has been absolutely brutal. Industry insiders, producers, executives, and agents are reportedly snickering behind the scenes about Meghan's spectacular failure. Many were already skeptical of her ability to carry a show after her podcast flopped and her previous Netflix projects underperformed. One executive was quoted saying, "This wasn't a show, it was a self-promotion reel, and even then, it failed." The fallout from Netflix itself may be the most consequential. Having invested millions into the Sussex deal, the streaming giant is under enormous pressure to justify this expense to shareholders. With Love Meghan bombing spectacularly, executives are reportedly reviewing whether continuing with Meghan is worth the astronomical cost. Some analysts suggest this might be the tipping point that finally causes Netflix to cut its losses. It's not just critics and executives delivering this devastating verdict. ordinary viewers have been the harshest judges of all. Comments are flooding social media, mocking Meghan's stiff delivery, contrived storytelling, and constant self-focus. This kind of grassroots rejection is particularly dangerous because while critics can be dismissed and executives can be curted, when ordinary subscribers declare your show unwatchable, it's a death sentence for your streaming career. The bigger problem is what this flop means for Meghan herself and her entire post-royal identity. Since leaving the monarchy, she's built her brand on commanding the spotlight, interviews with Oprah, glossy magazine spreads, billion-dollar deals. But with Love Meghan Season 2 proves that the world no longer buys what she's selling. Once seen as a disruptor, she's now viewed as overexposed, tone-deaf, and increasingly desperate. Every failure chips away at her credibility, and with Hollywood turning cold and Netflix reconsidering their investment, Meghan's brand teeters on the edge of irrelevance. This isn't just another embarrassing headline. It's the culmination of years of overreaching ambition colliding with the harsh reality of underwhelming content. The most alarming aspect of this situation is that Meghan reportedly doesn't take criticism at all. Sources close to production say she dismisses negative feedback as caricatures of her, rather than legitimate critiques of her work. This inability to accept constructive criticism and adapt accordingly may ultimately be what dooms her Hollywood ambitions entirely. For Netflix, this creates an extraordinary dilemma. Do they continue pouring millions into the Sussex deal despite mounting evidence that their content simply doesn't connect with audiences? Or do they cut their losses and walk away, potentially triggering a catastrophic domino effect for Harry and Meghan's entire empire of influence? Industry analysts are already speculating about what happens if Netflix pulls the plug. Without their biggest backer, can the Sussexes survive in Hollywood? Their Spotify deal has already collapsed, their book deals have generated diminishing returns, and their charitable foundation has struggled to gain meaningful traction. The Netflix partnership was their last major claim to A-list status. Without it, they risk spiraling into total irrelevance. What makes this situation particularly ironic is that Meghan left royal life partly because she felt constrained by palace protocol and wanted creative freedom. Yet given complete control over her Netflix projects, she's produced content that audiences find inauthentic, self-serving, and ultimately unwatchable. It raises the uncomfortable question: was the problem ever really the monarchy, or was it Meghan's fundamental misunderstanding of what audiences actually want? As this extraordinary streaming disaster continues to unfold, one thing becomes increasingly clear. Meghan Markle's Hollywood experiment stands at a crossroads. Either she must fundamentally reinvent herself in ways she has so far resisted, or accept that her time as a bankable streaming star may be over for good. The critical reaction to With Love Meghan Season 2 isn't just about a bad show, it's a devastating verdict on Meghan's entire post-royal strategy. She thought she could pull the spotlight back onto herself with this glossy vanity project. But instead, she's been exposed not as a global icon, but as a celebrity whose time has passed. And unless she can somehow turn this sinking ship around, this Netflix flop may not just be the end of a show. It may be the beginning of the end for Meghan Markle's Hollywood ambitions altogether. Ta-ta, and bye for now.